like to call to order the Clarkston Independence District Library Board of Trustees meeting for September 16th. The meeting will order at 6:34. Let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Dan Gaffney.
Here.
Tim Holcomb.
Here.
Allison McFadden-Kiesling.
Here.
Nancy Moon.
Here.
Alan Panter.
Here.
Marilyn Pomeroy.
Here.
Maggie Sands.
Here.
Julie Meredith here.
I'll accept a motion for approval of the agenda.
So moved. I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. It's time for call to the public. Tonight we have no public. They're enjoying the nice weather. The call to the public is closed. Next is a review of the 2024 millage rate.
So before we do our public hearing, I'm going to go over the millage rates. Okay, so the first thing to understand, and this is confusing to, the board will understand it probably, but the public may not understand. We're talking about the 2024 millage rate, which supports the 2025 budget, and that is because library collection is on the December tax bill. So what we'll do is go over the millage rate this evening, you'll approve the millage rate, and then it will be the taxes that are collected from December 15th of 2024 through February 15th of 2025, and it supports the 2025 budget that we'll be writing and approving later this year. Okay, so this is our L 4029 that we have to fill out every year. And it has all of the details about our budget. It is in your millage. It is in your packet. So this is a voted millage. It is specifically for library purposes. It was voted in August of 2022. The original amount was 1.1687. There is a Headley rollback this year, which takes us down to 1.1625. And that will be, this is a millage that goes through 2029 inclusive. So just kind of a recap of that. We are going from 1.1687 to 1.1625 because of that Headley rollback. State aid, penal fines, and E-rate were fairly stable for our 2024 revenues. Fines and fees and duplicating and photocopying have been increasing. Interest has been shifted to an investment structure for future use. So the library will have a total estimated operating revenues of approximately $2,758,654, and that's an increase of approximately $163,387. So you'll see in that revenue down at the bottom, I'm comparing 24 and 25. I kept state aid and penal fines about the same. You'll see fines and fees I bumped up a little bit. Duplicating and photocopying I bumped up a little bit. Interest I took down a little bit because of that interest we won't be putting into the operating budget necessarily. And then our E-rate remains the same every year. Any questions about any of that?
Okay. So we will open the public hearing at 6:38. And if there are no comments or no questions about the rollback, we will close the public hearing at 6:39. I will now accept a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved. I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the consent agenda. There are 8 items. Is there any item that anyone wants to question? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. Motion is carried.
Don't we have to vote on
The millage, yeah.
the resolution?
It's
for
the first item on regular
Okay.
business.
Oh.
Okay, so we did that, okay, got it.
It's coming.
We did
I just
we do
wanted
the
to be
public
sure.
hearing first, and then we put it as an order of business, because there's a whole resolution and all
I
of that.
guess I should have
so.
looked at that front of my agenda instead of the back.
It's a little bit different. I think before I made it a little bit further down, but I thought maybe we would have some public, so I moved it a little bit closer to the top of the agenda to make it convenient for people in case they didn't want to stay for the whole meeting necessarily. But.
Right. Next item is the Friends of the Library report.
So Becky was unavailable to come this evening, but I did want to announce that the Friends book sale will be September 25th through the 28th. Preview night for Friends members will be September 24th, and they do have their sign-up genius on their website if people would like to sign up to volunteer.
Okay. Good time to stock up before those winter days.
There are lots and lots of boxes in the back, so please come and buy books.
Next, let's cover library statistics.
So Bill and Michael have provided a new layout of statistics, and they did some comparison. So these are July statistics comparing July of 2024 to July of 2023. So the first one is total visitors, and it shows 9,546 in 2024 and 9,110 in 2023. And so you'll see in each case, the dark line is 23 and the lighter blue is 2024. The one thing that I do need to point out is that there's a little bit of, well, there's a couple of anomalies. One little anomaly is that the pages sort of run together. So the one bar graph got a little bit cut off. Part of it's on one page and part of it's on the other. The other little anomaly is the total adult programs. It looks like total adult programs dropped significantly between 23 and 24, and we realized after we published this statistical report that there were some big events that were like family events that we last year split the attendance in 2 and put half in the children's count and half in the adult count, and this year they just dumped it all in the children's count. And so it looks like children's went way up and adult went way down, and that was inadvertent. So it should be a little more equal.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Certainly.
It's 23 and 24. We're not done with 24, so how far are we comparing?
This is just the month of July.
Okay, that's what I was lost.
Yes, this is,
Okay,
this,
thank you.
and it does, I don't think it really says that on here, but this is just comparing July of
Got it.
2023 to July of 2024.
Thank you.
So this is just this month, or one particular month, I should say. Any questions about any of that?
We had a lot of downloads.
So you'll notice circulation went down a little bit, but downloads went way up.
I was noticing that too. We had more people in, but they circulated fewer items, but that's all right.
But our programming is up as well, so we're
Yeah,
seeing
so
a lot
that's
of
good.
events
Yeah.
and a lot of study room usage. Yeah, so,
That's great.
yeah.
Okay, that's a different way of presenting it, but
Well, the person
Gives
who
us
kind of
another-
helped put it together is right here in the room, so if you have
Gave us
questions,
another
comments,
perspective. Thank you.
requests,
I
we'd love
like
to
the
hear them.
visual to see, I always love a good bar graph.
Would you like me to do like different colors so they're not so similar?
Yes.
Okay. I'll keep that a note for the next month.
Thank you.
okay, thank you. Library Director's report.
Okay, work on the possible EV charging station project continues. Nancy Moon and I had a meeting with the DTE representatives and our electrician. DTE has estimated the cost for running the line of power at about $2,000. Other costs that we're working on estimating include required permits to do the work and the software to manage the payments. We're also concerned that the GM program to provide the charging station may have expired, so we're investigating that cost as well. The total cost of the project, even if the charging station needs to be purchased, should still be well within the limits of the state's current grant opportunities. When we have a more comprehensive estimate of the costs, I will reach back out to Michigan's Director of Mobility Policy, Shafiq Bari, to discuss those funding options. So we're still moving forward, and we were pleased by the fact that the DTE cost was not as much as we thought it was going to be.
Good.
So that was a happy bit of information.
So we would no longer be doing it in collaboration with the local dealership?
Maybe, maybe not. We're talking to them about the possibility if there's some way that they could
potentially get one for us at cost or some other kind of a collaboration. But
Any indication why General Motors might have backed off the program?
the program had a life expectancy, and I think they didn't, it sounds like they may not have renewed it.
Okay.
But they're looking into it because apparently when the program took place, there were 5 charging stations that were supposed to go to Bowman, and they only used 4 of them. And so they're trying to figure out if that 5th one, just GM didn't give it to them because they didn't have a recipient for it, or if it might still be like in storage somewhere, waiting to be installed. So
Okay.
they're looking into it. So there might still be one there for us.
Okay.
But they're not sure yet. So
Okay.
fingers crossed, we're
Yeah,
hoping.
yeah.
Yeah, we're hopeful, so. But we're looking at other options just in case that's not a possibility. The Friends of the Library and Independence Township Parks and Rec are continuing to work together to install 2 new Little Free Libraries. The Little Free Library for Bridgewater Apartments has been primed and painted and is having the decorative painting added by local artist Mary Hartz. The other Little Free Library is beginning the process of being prepped for an artist to decorate. It is tentatively planned for installation at North Sashbaugh Elementary, so we're excited about that. That's a Title I elementary school, and we're excited to possibly put one there. At the July meeting, the library board received an update about Windstream, the company that supplied the library's 3 analog phone lines. We filed a complaint regarding Windstream's billing with the Michigan Public Services Commission, the MPSC, and have been negotiating with Windstream's billing department regarding corrections to our bill. We received notification from our Windstream customer service representative that they plan to credit all 3 lines to the bill end date of 7/4/2024, which is 45 days out from the date of the original disconnect. They also stated that they plan to issue a credit for the TDM rate increase portion that started billing in May. This will return all 3 lines to the original rate through the final date of disconnect. We have not yet received the final invoice indicating what we owe and will not close out the complaint with the MPSC until the final details have been finalized and our Windstream account has been closed.
Great.
So we think this is good news, but we're hopeful, but we're not going to say it's done until it's done.
Well, good work regardless.
Well, it was a lot more waiting and just nudging.
Mhm.
Anyway. On September 16th, I attended a webinar for library directors held by the Library of Michigan and Mike Bloom, our labor attorney, regarding the upcoming changes to minimum wage and sick time for part-time employees. As I mentioned at the last meeting, we are in good shape preparing for these changes, but we'll be having Mr. Bloom review our policy before the end of the year to assure that we are fully compliant. There have been some details have been released regarding if there are issues with front-loading versus accrual and some other kinds of things. And so we're just going to make sure that all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. But right now, we look like we're in pretty good shape. And then last, the project to update the library's policies continue. On tonight's agenda, the board will be reviewing the updated references policy to be added to the employee handbook. The child leave policy will be going to the library board staffing committee for review, and the dress code policy was discussed at the last department head meeting and is going back to the policy committee for further discussion. The library's finance policies are next on the list for review and revision, so I'm getting there.
One thing at a time.
One policy at a time, yep.
Okay, thank you. Now, regular business.
Okay.
Let us look at the approval of the resolution setting the 2024 millage rate.
Okay, so in accordance with state law, the library must hold a public hearing each year regarding the millage rate and file the L4029 millage rate request form with the county clerk, equalization department, and the clerks of the city of the village of Clarkston and Independence Township by September 30th. The library board provided a public hearing to formally state the millage rate that has been voted upon by the residents of the library district, adjustments to that rate due to the Headley Amendment, and approve the resolution formally accepting that rate. So as I said before, due to the Headley Amendment, the district library millage of 1.1687 that was approved by the voters in the library district on August 2nd, 2022, will be rolled down to 1.1625 in 2024.
Okay, everyone clear on that?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments before we accept a motion? All right. I will accept a motion for approval of the millage rate.
I'll move that we approve the resolution setting the millage rate at 1.1625 for 2024.
Second.
Oh,
And we all like a rollback. I'll put my name on that.
okay. So, the motion has been made and seconded that we approve the resolution setting the millage rate at 1.1625 for 2024. Let us have a roll call of the vote.
Jan Gaffney,
Yes.
Tim Holcomb,
Yes.
Allison McFadden Kiesling,
Yes.
Nancy Moon,
Yes.
Alan Panter,
Yes.
Marilyn Pomeroy,
Yes,
Maggie Sands.
Yes.
Thank you.
motion is approved. Number 2, let's review the meeting schedule for the rest of this year.
The only reason I threw this in here is because we've got a couple special meetings coming up, and I just wanted to make sure everybody had everything on their calendar and that there weren't any, if there wasn't any confusion about what's when, because we had some different times in here.
I appreciate it.
So the regular meeting that's coming up is October 14th at 6:30 PM in this room. We have a special meeting scheduled for Wednesday, October 23rd from 5 to 8 PM in the conference room. That's that strategic plan retreat. We have a special meeting on Monday, October 28th at 6 PM in the conference room. That's the budget workshop. Then we have a regular meeting on November 11th at 6:30 PM in the community meeting room. That will be our budget hearing and our budget approval process. And then on Monday, December 16th at 6:30 PM in the community meeting room, we will have our final regular meeting of the year. And that will include those final budget adjustments that we do to make sure that the budget is nice and tidy before we close everything out on December 31st.
Okay, so now everybody has this for their calendar.
Now, Alan, did you?
Yep. So I have a conflict with the one on the 28th, the special meeting on the 28th. I'm wondering if anybody would mind if we do that on Tuesday, the next day?
I'm busy on Tuesdays. I actually took a class specifically on Tuesday because I was looking
Because
at
you
this.
know we don't have a
Yeah.
board meeting? All right, that's fine. Okay.
Okay. So we're gonna, is
We
everybody's,
do it
any
another
questions?
Monday?
What's
Wanna
that?
do Another Monday?
I
mean, if you can't make it.
Yeah. This is a very busy time of year for me, and I end up presenting a lot of audits. And they're all on Mondays, a lot of them are on Mondays.
Okay.
Oh.
Was everyone required to be there, Julie? It's okay if somebody misses it.
It's okay if somebody misses
Yeah.
it. It's just a matter of, I can catch him up beforehand, or we
Yeah.
can meet separately if he wants to do that.
Okay, that's fine. I
Is
don't
that
need to
okay?
be there.
Are you
We
sure?
will review
Oh, you're
with
missing
him,
out on
is
an
that
awful lot
another
of
date?
fun,
Is that
Alan.
how that goes? Yeah.
What about Monday the 4th?
It's just before Election Day.
He's got Mondays his
Yeah.
Mondays are pretty blocked.
Yeah.
Well, and Monday the 4th, because it's before Election Day, this room will be locked down because
Oh,
the
that's
election
right,
equipment
yeah.
will be in
Right.
here, so.
Monday, the 21st works for me.
Monday
I don't know.
the
There's 7 of us here, not just one.
October
Well, I know,
October
but it's
21st.
it's usually a really productive meeting, so.
I can do October 21. I think I can, I don't have my calendar, so.
Yeah,
we can
I
try.
could do the 21st also.
If I can't, I miss it.
21st of October.
Can you look at local hop? I mean, I was gonna bring it up on my phone, and
I can bring it up whenever here.
either that or I can bring
Make
it.
sure you guys have a room.
Is that gonna squeeze staff at all to get ready for a
You said
week
that was the
earlier?
21st.
Yes.
Yeah,
We
you,
can make it work.
The community room's busy, but you guys could do
The conference room is the room we usually do for budgets.
Yep, so that's open.
Yeah.
So the 21st is all right?
And that was October, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so check, yeah.
Okay.
So this is opposed to October 28th. We're thinking October 21st.
That
Mon-
does put, well, oh, you know what the problem with the 21st is? It's before the retreat for the strategic plan. We pushed it back to make sure that we would
Yeah,
have
okay, just keep it on the 28th.
okay.
I
It just occurred to me that that's why we pushed it back so far, was because that board retreat is on the 23rd.
I forgot that we did talk about that.
Yeah.
All right, very good.
Sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
It's okay if we miss a meeting, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I missed it last year. That's my issue.
He just wanted to be part of all the fun that we had at a budget workshop.
This is all the fun. And snacks.
It's true, I usually do
Right?
snacks.
Fun and
I do
snacks.
snacks, yeah.
Yes.
I always make sure there's protein in the room if we're talking numbers, because not everybody
Yeah,
can make it to
talking
the end of the
money.
meeting if I don't.
That's what happens when you're
Isn't
still
that the
working, you
truth?
miss the party.
I know, it's a lot.
I have to have protein to talk numbers.
All right, so we will meet on the 28th without Alan.
Yeah.
So
Sorry,
we'll all
Alan.
catch him up.
If you want to meet separately, I'd be happy to sit down with you and go over budget if you have any questions. Just let me know.
Great, okay, that sounds good.
Okay. All right, let's move to review and approval of the references policy.
So in March, the library board approved an updated employee policy manual. It consolidated all of the employee policies, many of which were standalone policies. Because of the magnitude of the project, the board approved the handbook with the understanding that there were 4 policies still being revised: the holiday policy, the child leave policy, the references policy, and dress code. Each of these policies has a committee assigned to continue work on the update. The references policy committee has completed their work and requests the board review the recommended policy. So the original references policy recommended by the attorney stated, the library will provide only your dates of service and the title of your last position in response to requests for references. Any request for a reference must be made to the library director. No other person may provide you with a reference. While this limits liability, the library staff wanted to be able to ask for references when hiring new employees and reconcile how we justify doing this with a strict policy forbidding references. We felt we needed to develop a policy that balanced liability with the ability to request and receive references and clarified for our staff how their right to support a colleague by providing a personal reference fit into this structure. Included in the packet is the proposed references policy as well as the table of contents of the employee handbook to identify where the policy will be inserted into the larger document. I did not want to fill your packet with all 30 pages of something you've already read. So I just gave you the table of contents and where I'm going to put it in. The library's labor attorney, Mike Bloom, worked with the committee to create this policy and has approved this current version. Yes.
Just one question, was it the staff preference or the one thing that stands out to me is whether the separation was due to retirement?
That actually was a staff request.
Really?
Yep. A staff member wanted to be able to say whether it was a retirement versus somebody leaving for other reasons.
Okay.
I'm not
It
sure
makes no
what,
difference to me, but.
he felt very strongly that it went in there, and so we put it in there, and the attorney said, yep, no problem, so.
Okay.
So it looks like we've broadened our policy a little.
So basically what the attorney did was laid out something that, that we are supposed to stay in objective to what we answer. But it does allow us a little more freedom in that we can list some of the projects that they worked on and their responsibilities, whether or not they were full-time, whether or not they supervised others. It gave us a little more freedom to at least answer some questions as opposed to just saying, this was their job title and this is how long they were here.
Which actually says very little.
Which says almost nothing, yeah, so. But the attorney was good with this. He said, these are all questions that you can answer objectively, and as long as they could be answered objectively, he felt okay with it.
Okay, and they can give some personal reference.
So in terms of personal reference, it sort of, basically it fits in the same way that we talk about our social media when people have a personal social media account, that they're not speaking on behalf of the library, they're not supposed to use their library email or library letterhead or anything like that, they're not supposed to use their position title if they're giving a personal reference. And they sort of laid that out here for us so that they know. And so if there's an individual that somebody feels very strongly that they want to be able to say more about that person, then they need to step away from the library and give it as a personal reference. And then they would be able to say what they wanted to say.
Right, and they can still make it clear that they were a coworker, but without saying, I'm speaking on behalf of the library.
Yes.
I think that as long as that's really clear, I don't see an issue with it.
Yep. So I thought our attorney did a really great job coming up with a way to kind of balance the wants and needs of the staff with the safety of the library in terms of liability.
Okay,
We benefit. because
any
we learn-
comments or questions?
I say we benefit because we learn more about somebody that we want to hire, so.
Right,
Yep.
okay. I'll accept a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the references policy as presented and include it in the employee handbook as indicated.
A second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the references policy as presented, included in the employee handbook as indicated. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion is passed. And please thank the committee that worked on this.
I will do so,
Because
thank
that
you.
takes extra time and effort and thought, so we appreciate that.
And it's never as easy as you think it's going to be when you start talking about a policy.
It's never as
Okay.
easy as you think it's
Number 4, the review of the Alliance Premium.
In 2020, the global pandemic put a indirect spotlight the importance of normalizing conversations about mental health. In support of employee well-being, a formal employee assistance program known as an EAP was written into the 2021 budget. Alliance, based in Troy, Michigan, was selected in their 1 to 5 fixed visit plan covering all of our full-time and our part-time employees, library board members, spouses, partners, and dependents was put in place. Alliance provides counseling, coaching, crisis intervention, basic financial and legal services, and a well-being portal. These services are completely confidential. In addition, there is support for the organization in the form of HR coaching for supervisors and the availability of on-site crisis counselors should our team experience a traumatic event. Alliance provides reports on usage while still protecting the privacy of the staff, allowing us to evaluate the value of offering this service. So the reason I'm bringing this to you tonight is there is a little bit of an increase coming up, and I just wanted to make sure that you were aware of that. I can write it into the budget. I don't think it's overly, I don't think it's an inappropriate increase. I don't think it's outrageously expensive considering the great service that we get. In your little pile of paper that is sitting next to you, your place, there is a report. This is the report that I got from our representative in terms of how many people are covered and the services that are provided, and the way those services are provided. This is just for January through June of 2024, so it's just the first half of this year. But we have had a number of people who have called and used the various services. We get a lot of positive feedback about this program, and I do about once a month send out an email sort of reminding the staff,
Yes.
including the board, that we have
get
this.
that too.
Yep,
Yeah.
that we have this service, my little well-being email that reminds everybody that if they need this help, it is available to them. The thing that I also think is really nice about this service that I made sure to mention in my sort of preamble was the fact that there is the availability of crisis counseling. And when the representative came, I said to him, now how exactly does that work? And he said, if your organization experiences a crisis, you call me and I come. And he said, and if I need to bring coworkers, I come. And he said, you get 7 hours right out of the gate included in the package deal. And he said, we come and we he said he would come in and do some sort of a meeting with the staff, and then he would go into a private room and be available for people to come in. And he would stay for a couple of hours, and then he would leave, and then he would come back. So it's 7 hours, and it's not all one big chunk. It would be spread out as we needed it over the course of days. And that's why they sort of lay it out that way. But we have somebody that if something were to happen, I don't have to think about it. I just call our representative, and either he comes himself or he sends somebody, depending on what the situation is.
Having been in a workplace where we had a very serious crisis where one of our coworkers was murdered in the building on her way out the door by her estranged husband, this service is so valuable. Yeah, you just, even now, all these years later.
Yeah. It's good to know that we have that sort of support if something were to happen.
Yes,
and
because nobody that works in the workplace is equipped, because they're also impacted.
Absolutely.
Nobody is equipped. You need an outsider to come in and do that, and this kind of service is.
And the part that made me feel better about it is the fact that, if something like this happens, I'm also going to be in crisis. It's going to be in our building, and I will be able to just call somebody else. I already have the number. I know who to call. This is a gentleman who calls me on a regular basis. All I do is call Matt. Matt's my guy. I call him, and he takes care of it and makes sure that we have the support that we need.
I think that's.
Can I just ask a question, and I'm not doubting the benefit of it, just trying
Absolutely.
to understand. I look at the reports, and it looks like we do have a number of use cases throughout every month. There's something. But then on the left-hand side, it says total people served is 4 and total cases is 2, but the services were 33. I'm just trying to make all the numbers make sense.
So essentially what he said is that it depends on what it is that people are doing. So in some cases, when it's talking about the people served, when you call, depending on what service that you want, if you are having a situation where you are looking for some sort of counseling or coaching, you get up to 5 sessions. So you might have somebody who's gone through and done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sessions. Other ones are a situation where you call and you're just getting referred to something. So you might call and they're referring you to some sort of another service. There's also legal and financial services, so you can call and get up to 30 minutes legal coaching on, like if you were writing a simple will or that kind of thing. So it depends on the kinds of services that are being offered, and I talked to him about that, and he said basically what happened is there were 4 people served doing various pieces of this. 2 total cases were a person from beginning to end doing some kind of counseling series.
Okay.
So that's how the numbers kind of fit together. So we have 2 people that probably had up to 5 sessions, and then we had 2 other people who had something that was
Less.
less.
Okay. And so, and just looking at the cost related to it,
Mhm.
so its total is $5,800. I presume, as we talk to our health insurance company, doing this is much less expensive of an option than having mental health care and having a couple of people take it up. And I know it's more than mental health care. You said it was legal and things like
Well,
that, but.
and the thing about this is that this, you pay a flat fee and it covers all of your employees, whereas our healthcare only covers those full-time employees that are part of that program, whereas this is something that covers absolutely everyone, including
Yes.
including all of their dependents and their family members. So, we have seen it used more some years than others. I have to admit, I haven't done as many emails this year, but last year when I was doing an email every single month, it was getting a lot more usage. And so I talked to Matt about how he can provide more support to me to make sure that I'm getting more information out to people so that they know the services. They have a regular newsletter, electronic newsletter that comes out. And so he's going to start providing that to me, and I'm going to start forwarding it on to the staff on a regular basis, so there will be more
Yeah.
Especially since
opportunities
just
for
to
people to
remind
use
them.
it.
Well, my point was making sure the staff gets what they need.
Absolutely.
But making sure we're doing it in the most thoughtful,
Yes.
budgetary manner. And
Yes.
so this actually presents a savings as opposed to adding more mental health care onto our insurance.
Absolutely.
And it covers more people.
Yep. And there is some additional mental health services in the regular healthcare program,
Mhm.
but this is something that actually also, like I said, includes the legal and the financial assistance and those kinds of things. This is a crisis hotline as well, so in the 24/7. So if you have somebody who's in crisis, this isn't where with healthcare you need to have somebody specific. This is you call this number and they will help you. And then if you need a referral to somebody else, they can help you with that as well. But
At which point our regular health care would kick in.
Mhm.
If
But
they were
will,
covered in.
as covered employees with this program, they will help you up to 5 sessions. And that's
Thank you.
everybody, which I think is really nice.
Terrific, thank
Yeah.
you.
Mhm.
So in a way, it's lucky we haven't had more people who needed the service.
True. Well, there's also some really nice added features in terms of coaching. So let's say you wanted to walk more. You can call them and they will set up meetings with you for goal setting and help you set a plan, and you would be answerable to this coach. So you'd get 5 sessions of that to kind of work your way up to setting a goal for some kind of a health thing or whatever. So yeah, there's a lot of cool services to it. I did ask Matt if he would come in. We haven't done it in over a year. Come in and do something at our all-staff meeting, reminding the staff of what the various services are. And we've had a little bit of turnover, so I think it's time to bring him back in again and have him show people, because every time I look at it, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot they do that. And I suspect that other people on staff are feeling that same way. So
I think that's an excellent idea.
yeah,
I think it's spectacular.
yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
Coordination of care, we have 15. What's classified as coordination of care?
Coordination of care. You know, I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure. We talked about all of these various things, and now that I'm thinking back, I don't remember what he said that is, but I have a feeling it has to do with the various pieces of, like,
Surround sound.
like when you go for the goal setting and things like that, they offer other sorts of resources online and things like that. So
Okay.
I'm betting there are probably like referral pieces to it, and they're counting all of those tidbits of it
Okay,
as
thank you.
a point of contact. I know that they offer, like they have a library of books that free books, and you can go through their library of books and just choose the book, and they mail it right to your house. You know, if you need help with elder care or sibling rivalry, they have this whole.
I could use one on bullying.
But they have a whole library of resources, and they're all brand new books, and you can request them, and they just send them right to your house. So it's just a lot of neat services they offer.
Good question.
So it might be something along those lines, I'm thinking.
Any other comments? If not, I'll accept a motion.
Okay, I guess the only thing is if you wanted to, I don't know if there's technically needs to be a motion. It's something that I would go ahead and put into the next year's budget. I just wanted to make sure that you
Yes.
were aware, and we hadn't talked about it in a while, so I felt like I wanted to bring
Okay.
it forward since it's a bit of a jump, so.
What's the
$400
concession? What's
jump.
the
$400
consensus?
jump, but it's a
I see,
$5,800
yes.
bill, so that's
Yes,
a
yes,
significant
yes.
jump.
Yeah.
Okay.
We haven't had a jump in that one in think since we first signed up for it.
Yeah, but on a percentage basis.
It is, but it just felt like something we should talk about since
Yeah,
it's,
well, it's only $400 a
So
week.
so
It's a
the
good
board
service.
consensus, Julie, is to continue the program.
carry on. It's the, okay, thank you for the pleasure of the board. I will write that into the budget.
That's the right thing.
All right. I will now accept a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried, and we are adjourning at 7:10. Thank you all for coming.
Record meeting.